Coming up on this week's edition of NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen.
When it comes to the cattle business, high-quality hay is essential. We're heading into the field to get advice on equipment and haymaking from the experts at New Holland.
And now, NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen.
Hello and welcome to NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen. I'm Kevin Ochsner. As the voice of the cattle industry in Washington, the National Cattlemen's Beef Association makes a difference for cattle producers. Every day, the DC staff works on a number of policy and regulatory issues that could impact the U.S. beef industry. We've got an update on what's happening in this week's Beltway Beef Spotlight.
Well, July 1st was a great day for the U.S. beef industry, and that's because the U.S.-Mexico-Canada agreement went into effect. As you know, for the last couple of decades, we've benefited tremendously from unrestricted and duty-free access to both Canada and Mexico. And as a result, we've developed those into billion-dollar markets for U.S. beef. USMCA protects that investment, and we're excited that we will continue to be able to trade high-quality beef with our Mexican and Canadian consumers at competitive prices. We will continue to have unrestricted duty-free access for many years to come, and now we have strong sanitary and phytosanitary standards to help that trade from becoming politicized. So this is a great day for us. We're excited that USMCA has passed. We were glad to see both the House and the Senate vote overwhelmingly in support of this agreement, and we're glad that on July 1st, the agreement has now gone into effect.
If you'd like to stay up to date on all the key issues and events from DC, one way is by becoming a member of NCBA. Members get the Beltway Beef newsletter. That's a weekly update straight from Washington that gives valuable insights on the key policy initiatives that may impact your business. To join, just call 1-866-233-3872 or visit the website ncba.org. Cattle producers know high-quality hay is essential, and having the right tools and equipment can pay off in a big way. So today, we're going to spend our time focused on the keys to success in making hay, as we take a special look back at some of our favorite stories from New Holland. We start in California, where Brian Baxter shows us how New Holland equipment is helping some custom forage operators produce a better product for their customers.
A silage pile is a common sight at beef feedlots and dairy farms across the country. That's because whether they're beef or dairy cattle, they need high-quality feed. In the dairy country of Central California, the corn grows 14 feet high, and chopping corn silage is a fast-paced, demanding job.
We got hot days and very, very fertile soil that we can grow, really tall hybrids. And so when it comes to chopping, you've got to have the kind of power it's needed to be able to run that feed through a machine and process it. And, so it's real important to have a forage harvester that can do that.
It's all about feed nutrition for the animals, milk production. They got to get the most they can out of this corn crop. They take 3 months to grow it, certain varieties, 4 months sometimes, and there's a lot of money into it, and they got to get the best feed quality out of it. That's to survive in the business. That's just what it is.
Here in California, we're blessed with high yields, big corn. Behind me is New Holland's flagship machine, the FR920, with a 10-row corn head. This machine is capable of 400 tons per hour in the right conditions. Phenomenal performance.
When we see 12 rows of corn feeding through a machine, it's impressive, right, that we can do that. And we're filling trucks within 2 minutes with, again, 10, 15 ton of feed, and even more so if the trucks are bigger. So it's quite amazing to watch the technology and what we've been able to do with engines and horsepower, along with wear components and crop flow design. It's been a good thing.
High capacity in the field is valuable, allowing forage harvesters to get more tons out of the field and into the silage pile. But even more critical is the quality of the feed, and that begins with the most complete processing of the corn as it goes through the harvester.
We want length of cut to be a certain length because of our butter fats and the fiber in the diet. We want it to be digestible, and we want those kernels broken up really well so the cow can digest it. If you don't have a good processor, you've got kernels going out the backside of a cow that never gets actually utilized and wasted.
Processing in just the last 5 years has become very, very important, and it's been driven by the starch intake of the cow. So in layman's terms, we have an X amount of time from when the cow eats the feed until it exits the cow to absorb all the protein, all the starches that we can. So research has found that if we take one kernel of corn and we break it in half, you get about half of that starch retention. If we break it in a quarter, again, a quarter of that. So now the processors become very, very important because we actually want to reduce that kernel into little bitty pieces. So the more pieces you put through the cow's stomach, the more possibility for the starch absorption, the protein. So we're getting more bang out of the feed before it exits the cow.
The demands are very high as far as kernel processing and feed quality and everything else and the right moisture. That's the biggest demand, and that's what they expect. And we are here to provide it the best way we can, and New Holland helps us do that.
The processor is a big thing for us. It's probably the key thing for corn, and they've done some changes to their processors by putting another extra belt on there so we don't have no slippage. And that's probably the most important part of a forage harvester is length of cut and the processing, and we like what we see with the 920 and what it's doing.
Another critical factor is chopping the corn at the right moisture. With the New Holland 920 Forage Cruiser, near-infrared technology is now available, letting the operator track crop moisture as they move through the field.
So NIR stands for near infrared reflectance. It's the light wave spectrum just below visible light that we see today. So what we're doing is we're actually seeing the sensor on the machine right now, which is in the crop flow with a round light source, and we're reflecting a light source down to the crop, and it reflects back, and we're able to then utilize that technology to measure what that actual moisture is as it goes through the machine real time.
So putting the moisture up correctly is key to good silage, and we all know that. So, and again, with that integration of technology, it gives us live time as the chopper's running what our moisture is, so we can catch a part of the field if it's too dry or it's too wet instantly. So we're not putting loads into the pile that are too wet that can basically not contaminate the pile, but it obstructs, putting up a good pile. So that's why the technology now, we want it live, real time on the chopper as we're going through the field.
One key benefit of the near-infrared system that we see on the machine today is we're actually able to measure ash. It's the only system and machine on the industry that's able to do that in real time. And that's a key driver, right? When you're talking about quality forage and feed delivered to the cows, maintaining your ash levels is something that nutritionists are always trying to minimize, right? So if we can understand what that looks like in the field as we're chopping real time, maybe we can make some adjustments, whether we raise the cutter head or we change from a rake to a basket rake or something in the windrow formations. Anything we can do to help reduce the ash here will benefit us in the barns, in the feed rations as those nutritionists are doing that. And we're able to see that real time in the cab. So it's pretty cool, it's pretty exciting to see that we're able to see that now and quantify what that looks like in the cab.
By having the moisture lab in the cab, it's easy for the driver to run the machine and be able to glance over and see where the moisture's at all times. So it's just a real nice feature. And this machine has a lot going on, so the easier you can make it to operate, the better you're going to be out in the field as far as keeping the feed in the truck. And so the way they've laid that cab out with the joystick and all the operations on the joystick and having the moisture lab right to your side makes running this cab and visibility a lot better when you're out in the field.
In addition to the technology, the experts say it's vital to keep these high-capacity machines well cared for to ensure they can be chopping the crop all day, every day.
Maintenance is number one on forage harvesters because of the environment they're in, making sure your knives are sharp. Every morning, basically, there's a sharpening system on the forage harvester, so make sure your knives are sharp, make sure your shear bar is set right, your gap in your kernel processor. Again, just making sure everything is tuned up and ready to go each and every day, and even during the day.
When you're out here chopping and you've got 8 trucks out here under one machine and the chopper goes down, you've got 8 people standing still while that chopper is being repaired. And Garton's been really good about either if it's something we can't fix ASP out in the field, we're getting a chopper from their store over here and using it as a backup until we figure out our problem on the other one. So without a doubt, that's meant customer care has been great.
From the Central Valley of California, I'm Brian Baxter reporting for NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen.
Still to come on Cattlemen to Cattlemen, see how a Tennessee operation is using a New Holland tedder to help improve the quality of their hay. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Getting to run a family farm is a dream come true. When you can grow good grass, there's opportunity to grow plenty of weeds. We want to use the tools that will help us do a better job. I would like the legacy to be that we took really good care of the land and we truly did it as a passion and we did our very best for the right reasons.
The Case IH sales event is going on now, making it a great time to get the equipment you need at a price you can afford. You'll find new Farmall, Maxim, and Puma Series tractors, along with our complete line of hay tools, all at a special rate. But hurry, the sales event ends July 31st.
Anyone who has ever put up hay will tell you the best way to make it rain is to cut down your crop. We joke, but rain and moisture really can cause a significant decrease in hay quality. Matt Fleck takes us to Tennessee for a look at equipment that helps hay retain its feed value in spite of precipitation.
One of the biggest challenges during hay season is the volatility of the weather, and there is no way to predict what Mother Nature has in store. That means not only the loss of precious time, but of hay nutrients as well.
Of course, weather here can knock us back a day, a week, a lot of time in harvesting hay. We can have alfalfa hay. Bermuda hay can lose from 19% down to 9% protein just from delays in harvest. Timothy hay can lose from 11% down to 5%. We just want to be sure and get it dry and not moldy and have something good for these quality cattle we have here.
Hay quality is probably the number one issue, because when it does get in the cold weather and you don't have any pasture, the protein in the hay is really the only supplement they're getting, other than what little feed we feed and the mineral supplement we keep out for the cattle.
To Brad Thompson, putting up good quality feed with limited time is essential to their family operation. He felt a hay tedder from New Holland could help them stay ahead of the weather and make better use of their limited time.
Just for the interview.
The biggest thing we have now is, back from the earlier days, is the tedder. And we really use the tedder whenever we cut the hay. We'll let it get so many hours of sunlight, maybe a day, and the next day we'll come in and tedder it. You can go in with a tedder it up, rake it one time, versus where in the older days you would have to use a roll bar rake, and it would probably take you 3 days to get it up, versus you can cut down probably a day and a half now with a tedder.
So a tedder is a tool that's used essentially to lift and separate the clumps of hay, and what you achieve by running a tedder in your operation is a shorter dry down period. So customers who are in more challenging weather conditions, maybe there's a shorter time span of dry weather. They might have mowed it thinking there was 5 or 6 days of dry weather. That forecast has changed now. Then it's only 3 days of dry weather. A tedder can be used in the operation to help shorten that dry down window.
It's important to keep in mind that hay tedders aren't just for rainy days. Using them can help speed the dry down process, even in ideal conditions, which will help the hay retain more of its feed value.
You know, to a lot of the farmers around here, a tedder is a tool that if hay gets wet, we're going to dry it with a tedder. We try to educate them on the benefits of the fast dry down. The benefits that you're going to get from the time you cut your hay till you get it down. We like to say get it down to 40% for dry hay, then how much more we're going to utilize out of that hay. So we try to approach the tedder from that as opposed to a tool that sits in the fence row until it rains and then you get it out.
I would consider buying a tedder if you're looking to make quality hay more consistently, to help you reduce the dry down time it takes for that crop to get to a baleable moisture content. The shorter the time you can get that crop down to less than 60% moisture content, the less nutrients, the less nutritional value it's going to lose in getting down to that less than 60% moisture content level as it goes through the respiration process. So you'll preserve more nutrients in that hay crop, making it more valuable as a feedstock to your animals.
Regardless of the weather, being aware of the hay's moisture content is critical in determining when to tedder your hay.
Hay that's really thick, probably need to be careful about legume hays of tedding when it's less than 20% moisture. We can really do a lot of damage. Mostly we've got grass hays here, Bermudas, fescue, Timothy, and they're more forgiving, but especially if you've got some legume in there, you need to be a little careful with the tedders.
A general rule of thumb when you're tedding hay is a legume type crop, such as an alfalfa, if you can ted that crop above 60% moisture, and grass hays above 40% moisture, you're going to have less loss, less mechanical loss, less shatter. So tedding above that moisture range is very, very important to crop quality and preserving a good product that's going to make good feed for your animals.
As with any piece of equipment, having the tedder set properly is key to getting the most from your hay crop.
Tine clearance is pretty critical when you're operating a tedder. Ultimately, you don't really want to be contacting the ground with the tedder tines. If you contact the ground, you're going to have stubble damage. There's going to be additional ash that's incorporated into that hay crop. However, you don't want to be too high either so that you're missing crop or leaving crop behind. So having a tine clearance roughly in that just slightly above the earth to maybe 3/4 of an inch to an inch, depending upon crop conditions, field conditions, and your stubble height that you've mowed at is very critical in terms of performance in that tedder and your ultimate dry down of that crop after you've run the tedder through the field. Then also another easy adjustment to make for any tedder is ground speed. I think a lot of people think when you run a tedder, the faster you go, the better you are, and that's not necessarily true in all cases. Sometimes if you'll slow down your ground speed, you'll do a better, more effective job at more uniformly spreading that crop behind you.
Choosing the right size tedder is important, and a local New Holland dealer can assist with making that determination.
There's quite a range of sizes to accommodate everybody from a hobby farmer up to a large commercial scale producer. Sizes ranging anywhere from roughly 8 or 9 feet all the way up to 50+ feet. So there's a wide selection of tedders available to fit everybody's operation, whether it's a smaller producer or a larger producer.
Equipment dealers can provide more than just sales advice. They also work hard to keep their customers up and running and help navigate the challenges of hay production.
One thing I want to say about the local dealer is their service. Their service is second to none. And we've used a bunch of dealers. And that's the reason we went with the New Holland was the local dealer.
Probably the main tip that I would give a customer going into hay season would be just be aware of what's happening today. Not what happened yesterday or not what we did last year. Let's take one day at a time. Let's look at our crop. Let's cut it when it needs cut, not when we can get to it. Let's bale it when it needs baled, not when we can get to it to bale. But let's just be aware of what's happening on your specific farm and what your needs are, and try to make it, because if you make those deadlines, then in the end, your cattle are going to flourish from them.
Reporting from Middle Tennessee, I'm Matt Fleck for NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen.
Still to come on Cattlemen to Cattlemen, we've got expert advice on buying the right size tractor to suit your haymaking needs. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
As a stocker operator, your job is to turn forage into profit. With the right implant, you can. Revlor G improves grazing performance for 150 days, the same length as the typical grazing period. And it's dosed for stockers' maturity levels, adding up to an extra 23 pounds. See why Revlor G is the #1 choice in stocker implants at RevlorG.com. A withdrawal period has not been established in pre-ruminating calves. Do not use in calves to be processed for veal.
We didn't just design the 6M tractors with you in mind. We designed them with you by our side. The new 6M tractors from John Deere, reimagined by you for you. With improved visibility, better maneuverability, and more ways to customize, so you get everything you need and nothing you don't. Experience the new 6M at your local John Deere dealer.
A good tractor is a staple of any farm or ranch, but when it's time to buy a new one, how do you know you're getting a machine that can handle your haymaking needs? Brian Baxter talked to the experts at New Holland about how to ensure you get the right tractor to fit your operation.
When choosing a new bull for their herd, cattle producers know there are lots of variables and choices to be made. The challenge is much the same when choosing to buy a new tractor.
So customers come in all the time and they say, I'm looking to buy a tractor. And I say, what do you want to do? You know, tell me a little bit about your operation. What's your scope? You know, are you looking at 10 acres? Or are you looking at 10,000 acres? You know, there's a vast difference.
When a person's looking for a new tractor, what I would suggest is spend some time, you know, slow down the purchase process. It's a major investment for you, something that you're going to want to use for years to come. You want to buy a quality tractor, like we said, from a quality dealership. You need to look at the weight of the tractor. You know, a person buying a tractor to put up 200 bales a year has many different needs than a customer looking at buying a tractor to do 5,000 or 7,000 bales a year. And a dealership, their sales staff can help guide you through that on exactly what you need to do. And that can be on your farm. You know, don't be afraid to ask the dealership, hey, can one of your sales guys come out, evaluate my farm, evaluate my needs.
With all the options today in the tractor world, the first thing that you should do if you're shopping for a tractor is sit down and make a list of what you want it to do, and be able to take that to a dealer with you and say, this is what I'm looking to do. Tell me what tractor does this for me. And then the other simple thing that I would say is make sure you get on the tractor and you drive it. I so often see people make decisions based off of data and information. You may not even like it, so get on it and drive it. Make sure you like it, make sure it fits you, you know, because there are differences in the ways. Most of the tractors today are very adaptable to different body types, but there'll be something about a tractor that you will or won't like, and make sure you like it. You're spending a lot of money. Make sure it satisfies you.
So for cattle producers who are doing all the chores, making hay, and caring for their cows, what are the tractors and features that are best meeting their needs?
I want a versatile tractor. I like the four-wheel drive tractors the best, simply for feeding hay in the wintertime and stuff like that. Economy does come into play eventually, but ease of use, being able to use them easily and user-friendly, that's all important. And I've had New Holland tractors probably since about 1985, and probably be my tractor of choice in the future.
Last year I put up approximately 1,400 bales. I use New Holland equipment only, use a New Holland baler, use a New Holland tractor. Well, on the T5, I mean, I love the shuttle shift. I love the fact that it has the 16 gears, and it's got a lot of the later features that automobiles have. It's got a computer system on board, basically, that allows you to preset things for your implements. Of course, my favorite is the air condition, and it works very well. And it has the adjustable up and down steering. It has the tilt steering, has the adjustable seat, has the air ride seat, and just has all the comforts of an automobile when you're out in a tractor.
I like the T6 tractors because they fit our operation to a T. I mean, we can mow with them, we can yank the mowers off, take the mowers off, we can rake if we need to. We use those two tractors. I have two T6 tractors. We use them all the time to feed hay in the wintertime. So they just fit our operation as good as any tractor could.
No comparison. I mean, there is no comparison. The New Holland tractor is the most comfortable tractor that I've ever been in.
From a New Holland tractor offering, there's really 3 different families of tractors that kind of cover that 100 horsepower range. A lot of overlap, but yet some distinct differences whenever you compare a Power Star to a T5 to a T6 series. Each family of tractors has a different set of specifications and configurations available, best suited to the various customer needs. We have our PowerStar series of tractors here, and they provide a good all-purpose utility type tractor. When we take a look at the controls of the cab, you have an operator's instructor seat here in the cab. You also have good placement of the operator's controls. We have a shuttle located on the left-hand side, the base 12x12 transmission located over here with the gear shift, the range shift down below here from that standpoint. Great visibility to our front end loader, good clear placement of the controls with the hydraulics, etc. So a good overall package, great for a utility tractor as for the PowerStar series. Next here in our lineup, we have the T5 120 Electro Command. So a little bit larger frame size when compared to the PowerStar. We also get into a more advanced transmission in that it is a semi-power shift 16x16. Overall, the cab size is a little bit larger, a little bit more spacious, still a very good fit for front-end loader applications and a design standpoint. Let's take a look inside the cab. Controls are very similar in terms of the PowerStar from an overall cab layout standpoint, but we have an electro-hydraulic power shuttle located here on the left-hand side. You also have your joystick control for your loader operation, as well as an upshift, downshift button for the transmission. Hydraulic controls, everything's placed there. Good visibility without the loader panel for this. This is the T5.120 Electro Command. The T6 series tractors is our largest utility all-purpose tractors, if you will, in that it has the longest wheelbase, the heaviest chassis weight, and also the highest horsepower. We have 3 different transmissions in this offering, an electro command, a dynamic command, and an auto command transmission. Each of those providing a different level of productivity and operator comfort for the operator to be able to use depending on their needs and their application.
The power, reliability, and features of the new tractor you buy are important, but equally so is the ability to count on the knowledge and service capabilities of the dealer who sells it to you.
So whenever you're looking for a tractor, any purchase, you should consult with your dealer to see what does he offer besides, beyond the sale. How are you going to support him with parts when he needs parts? What kind of parts levels do you stock? What kind of service do you offer, both in warranty and out of warranty? Does that include on-farm service? How is the delivery of the equipment handled? Who pays for hauling and mechanic travel time under warranty? Those are all questions that a purchaser should ask their dealership.
At the end of the day, I'm going to tell you that where you buy your machine is probably more important than the brand that you buy. And that really comes down to, does the sales staff work with you properly? Do we have an adequate parts staff? Do we have an adequate parts inventory? Do we have a trucking department, delivery? The machines today are big. You're not gonna pull them behind your typical pickup with your typical utility trailer. It's gonna take some special equipment to move it around safely. Do you have a trained shop? Are they accessible during the hours that you're gonna be working? Will the salespeople introduce you to the parts staff and the service staff? Do you know who you're dealing with? Because that's going to be ultimately what makes you happy with a tractor.
Reporting from Southwest Missouri, I'm Brian Baxter for NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen.
Still to come on Cattlemen to Cattlemen, we'll head to Missouri for tips on how to set up a disc mower conditioner to ensure you put up the highest quality hay. Stay with us.
Stressors that trigger bovine respiratory disease are all around. So when you spot BRD in your herd, turn to Zuprevo, the fast that lasts. Zuprevo is rapidly absorbed in as little as 45 minutes and lasts up to 28 days. Because in the race against BRD, you need to win. Ready, set, Zuprevo. In case of human injection, seek immediate medical advice. For use in beef and non-lactating dairy cattle only. For prescribing information, talk to your veterinarian or visit Zuprevo.com.
Case IH is proud to grow the century-long Farmall legacy by introducing the Farmall Utility 75A tractor. More comes standard on this economy-level tractor, giving you the features and performance you need without the additional costs. FPT patented engine and emission solutions require no regeneration, so you can keep your tractor running longer. The Farmall Utility 75A is engineered with heavier components built into the tractor. This evenly distributes weight in all the right places without the addition of wheel weights. The optional power shuttle transmission makes the Farmall Utility 75A easy to operate, especially during loader work. By simply pulling the shuttle lever up or down, you can move forward or reverse without pushing in the clutch to shift gears. All Farmall Utility 75A tractors come with spacious, comfortable cab and non-cab operating stations that offer exceptional visibility with easy access to all your controls. A high-visibility roof panel comes standard, making loader work like stacking bales much easier. Experience the difference. Test drive a Farmall Utility 75A today. Contact your Case IH dealer or visit caseih.com/minute.
The equation is pretty simple. Better quality hay equals better feed for your cattle. The best way to put up high quality hay is with equipment that is well maintained. Brad Bullitt takes us to Missouri to learn about the value of properly adjusting hay cutting equipment.
Gavin and Steve Floyd are busy guys. They operate Floyd Farms in southwest Missouri, and each year they cut about 1,000 acres of hay. And getting high-quality hay cut is a top priority for one simple reason.
Quality hay in operation is very important for the fact that we get better gain on our stocker calves, and it brings our cows through the winter better with raising calves.
We run a backgrounding operation. We background calves from 500 pounds up to 750 to 800 pounds, and we also have some cow-calf mama cows that we save the calves off of also. We do both dry hay and high moisture hay. Most of our fescue we bale dry. Our alfalfa, clover, millet, those higher protein crops we wet bale and wrap them in with a tube wrapper.
The variety of crops that we harvest are alfalfa. We harvest orchard grass and red clover. We harvest fescue. We do millet and crabgrass. Are the main hay crops that we do. The equipment we use to cut the hay is New Holland equipment. We use a 7230 disc bine and a 1411 disc bine.
When it comes to getting hay cut and ready to bale, one of the first questions many producers ask is how to make dry down happen faster. One key strategy is to make sure your mower conditioner is set up and adjusted properly.
The first thing a producer might notice is their hay is not drying as quickly as they expect it to. And sometimes that can be weather, but certainly it can be an adjustment issue on the machine as well. For the machine that we have here as a roll unit, it's got several key adjustments on it that need to be checked and adjusted periodically.
How do you know if your conditioner is set properly? You look at the crop. You know, if you're feeding cattle, you examine the manure piles and the condition of the cattle. If you're checking to see if your conditioner is working properly, you're looking at that windrow as it comes out the back of the machine. If it's a legume crop, we're looking to see, is the stem broken and crushed, but the leaf is not bruised? That's ideal. You know, if we look and we're doing damage to the leaf or we're separating the leaf from the stem, we've got the conditioner way too aggressive. If we're not crushing the stalk, getting it where the moisture can relieve, then we're not aggressive enough. On the flail machine, the impeller machine, we're looking to see if we're removing that wax or the cutin off of the stem and the leaf of that plant so that the moisture can escape. And if we're beating it up or we're consuming way too much horsepower, we've got it too aggressive. So if we see pieces and parts of stem and stalk, we're probably doing too much.
For many producers, time and weather pressures can make the window for cutting and baling hay very tight. That can make it tempting to hook the equipment up and go. But the experts at New Holland say spending a little time making sure your equipment is still adjusted properly can make a big difference in the quality of the hay you cut.
Roll gap is the vertical clearance between the upper and lower roll inside the conditioning system. It's really important to make sure that you have the roll gap set appropriately, because if it's open slightly too wide, you won't get a good crushing and crimping action of those stems. So you want to make sure that you're setting your roll gap narrow enough that you're able to crush roughly one stem at its most closed position. What I like to do is take a roll pin punch, for example, because they're round like an alfalfa stem or a grass stem. And I can use it like a feeler gauge, just like gapping a spark plug. And there's some adjusters that actually stick out conveniently on the tops of the hoods. And I can just simply lower those rolls down until I can feel a little bit of a drag on the roll pin punch to know that I have those rolls set in parallel with the right proper gap setting to get the conditioning I'm going to need.
In addition to roll gap, adjusting the roll timing and pressure on the mower conditioner is also important.
The adjustment for roll timing is common across the New Holland product line. Essentially, the rolls are driven by a gearbox, and from the gearbox is actually some short universal drive shafts. Those drive shafts will actually have an adjustment on there. You can actually loosen the hardware and slip a joint, which will allow you to reposition the roll, lug, and valley till they're nice and centered on one another, so that you have clearance on both the front and the back side of the lug from a timing standpoint. And then you simply tighten that hardware back down to lock in that roll timing setting. The most common adjustment on New Holland roll conditioning systems is our torsion bar roll pressure system. It's the handle on the back of the machine where I can increase or decrease the pressure on the upper roll relative to the lower roll. You want to be able to manage that pressure, obviously, because if a crop is able to just pass through the rolls very easily, you're not going to get a good crushing and cracking of that stem. Generally, for a lighter crop, you can back that pressure down quite a bit. You don't have the same need to apply high pressures. But in your early season crops or very high yielding types of crops, it's important to have an adequate amount of pressure to be able to crush and crack and crimp that stem very well.
Overall maintenance of the disc mower conditioner should also be looked at regularly to ensure the machine is cutting properly.
We pay attention to knife condition, and every 50 to 60 acres we hand sharpen the blades, and then when the blades on the end starts to round off, we change the blades.
The service life of a disc cutting knife certainly isn't an infinite time period. They do need to be checked. We recommend that folks look at those at least once a day before they go out and start mowing for the day. They're quick and easy and inexpensive to change. Probably the biggest indicator of a dull or a damaged knife is it'll really negatively impact the quality of the cut of the machine. You can see streaking in certain grass crops in particular. When you leave uncut crop in the field, that crop is carried over till the next time the field is cut, and because it can be over mature or even dried down, it can really negatively impact the quality in that area of the field. So knife maintenance is an important thing to consider, which is one of the reasons this machine has the availability of what we call the Quick Max blade change system, which allows you to quickly change knives with a special tool in just seconds.
With 1,000 acres to cut every year and cattle that need high quality hay, the Floyds have come to rely on their New Holland hay equipment.
I like cutting with the disc bind for the ease of use. It's simple to use. It does a very nice job of cutting. It's just very important that the disc bind works well. We have very little trouble with the New Holland disc binds, and they're very reliable and they're a good tool to use on cutting hay.
Reporting from Southwest Missouri, I'm Brad Bullitt for NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen.
Still to come on Cattlemen to Cattlemen, we'll take a trip to Arkansas to see how one operation relies on New Holland equipment to help it put up better hay. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
All across the nation, ranchers are feeling the effects of immune system challenges in more than 1 in 5 of their weaned calves. It's a frustrating, costly journey. But help is on the way. Purina starter feeds. Now with RX3 immune support technology, it boosts calves' natural defenses, priming their immune systems from the start. Join the fight and talk to your Purina rep to learn more.
The Case IH sales event is going on now, making it a great time to get the equipment you need at a price you can afford. You'll find new Farmall, Maxim, and Puma Series tractors, along with our complete line of hay tools, all at a special rate. But hurry, the sales event ends July 31st.
Today, we've been talking about some of the keys to success when it comes to making the quality hay your cattle operation relies on. Brian Baxter takes us to Arkansas to see how one cattleman is working all the angles to put up the most hay he can.
For Marcus Creasy, who works the land in northeast Arkansas, his family business is all about raising high-quality beef cattle.
We run a cow-calf operation, a commercial cow-calf operation. Use Black Angus bulls over the top of the cows. When fully stocked, we would be around 400 head at both locations, but we're not there today. We run a haying operation as well, feeding the cattle. Typically, we'll use just round bales and hay rings during the winter, but we also do some grinding and mixing of feed as well, and spread that out for the cattle in the wintertime. Summertime is typical grazing. We've got enough acres here that we can just graze cattle.
When it comes to making hay for his cattle, weather is the critical factor. As with all producers, Marcus is focused on getting his hay crop cut, baled, and stored quickly.
In those 4x5 round bales, we generally field stack those. We've got a good solid base here where we can accommodate several hundred bales here, and then another barn back at a location, and then our second location, hay there as well. So we'll haul back and forth between them. We utilize a 70-60 New Holland baler for the typical bales, and we've been trying out the roll belt 460 as well, and it's been a great baler.
As important as his round baler is, Marcus also relies on New Holland tractors to get the job done.
We've got a T4 New Holland that we utilize most of the time in our equipment regimen, but here lately we've been using the T6 you see back there, and it's been a great tractor to be able to utilize in the baling and the loading out of hay.
Cattlemen appreciate the T6 for its power, its comfort of operation, and ease of use, if you will. When you look at the T6 series tractors that can be equipped with cab suspension, providing a comfortable ride and operation throughout the field, no matter of the field conditions. The powerful engines provide the power that's needed for a variety of tasks, whether it is mowing or baling hay or moving bales. They have that power to be able to operate in.
In fact, the T6 tractor has a variety of transmission choices and innovative features that were designed to meet the needs of producers like Marcus, who are cutting, baling, and moving hay.
New Holland is so innovative with new technology and new features, and we have this new T6 tractor with a dynamic command transmission. It's 24 speeds. I promise you it has more than one of the right speed you need to do that job.
The T6 Dynamic Command was based on customer feedback. Customers were looking for more productivity and a better selection and alignment of gears and ground speeds within those certain applications. So looking at the transmission to be able to have that developed, that it has more gears and less ranges, meaning more ease of shifting up and down to be able to match those conditions.
Oh, I can't brag enough about that. Whenever we're driving across the fields, the ability to be able to shuttle shift real quick with switching gears, switching ranges, and be able to get up to speed with how fast we want to try to get those bales put out, especially on a day like today when we may be getting just a little bit of rain coming in. We're able to really push the tractor and get those bales rolled out and get them in and off the field.
In addition to the variety of transmission options in the T6 series tractors, operator comfort was also a major factor in the design.
The best thing about a T6 tractor is it's the size of its cab. It is very comfortable, yet it's not big and bulky and cumbersome feeling. Suspended cab, for instance, so great when you're hitting rough ground. Very comfortable. The way the layout of the controls, everything is right here at your arm's reach, real easy to operate and very comfortable. In the course of a day, when you're out there all day long, I mentioned all those things about comfort. Some folks think it may be a luxury, but when that's your livelihood and you're in it for 10 hours a day, you go home at night, you're not exhausted because you have had some comfort during the day.
The T6 was designed with the front end loader use in mind when it comes to the visibility in the cab, providing excellent visibility to a front end loader and having that integrated into the controls in the cab of the tractor. The electronic joystick is molded right on the sidewinder armrest to be able to provide the operation and comfort for ease of operation for the operator.
The T6 has an enormous cab on it, number one, but for the size it works great. A lot of visibility from the pull panel for your easy access to be able to see your loads up high, to the window usage all the way around. You're able to see where you're at, see your equipment move. The placement of the controls, not only for the loader but for the shift command, it's outstanding.
Beyond the quality of the tractor, for Marcus, there was another incentive to go blue, a New Holland discount thanks to his membership in the National Cattlemen's Beef Association.
He walked in the door, and because of our relationship with the Cattlemen Association and NCBA, he took advantage of discounts. He saw the benefit in the discounts that New Holland had worked a deal with NCBA to give a discount on tractors and balers and mowers and whatever, and he took advantage of that.
That NCBA process was great. When I initially went into venture to purchase that first tractor with the benefit, the guys there were real easy to work with. They knew exactly what we were talking about. That promotion worked great, and I can't brag enough about New Holland's opportunity back through NCBA, and really hope that they continue to do that.
Reporting from Searcy, Arkansas, I'm Brian Baxter for NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen.
New Holland offers outstanding discounts to NCBA members. To learn more about those discounts, visit ncba.org or your local New Holland dealer. You can also head to the website newholland.com. Up next, it's time for a visit with the cowboy poet Baxter Black. Stay with us.
In the world of cattle vaccines, when you see fewer reactions, you'll notice healthier cattle and higher profits too. Because sometimes good protection is about what you don't see. Protect your productivity with cattle vaccines from Merck Animal Health. Proven to cause fewer reactions. You'll like what you see. Our trusted portfolio is just one more way Merck Animal Health works for you. Talk to your veterinarian and visit cattlefriendlyvaccines.com to learn more.
At Leachman Cattle, we're committed to building more profitable cattle. As a third-generation seed stock producer, our family has been in this business for over 80 years. Today, we have the best technology ever to build more profitable cattle. Our dollar profit index is a leader in the industry to help you balance all the traits that drive your bottom line. Give us a call or go to www.leachman to learn more.
We know you're up before the dawn because the cattle rise before the sun. And you spend long hours in the saddle because the herd isn't always over the next rise. And you care for the land because you know it takes care of your family. And we know you do great work. And it's time to tell that story to the marketplace. IMI Global is here to help you do just that.
What a country. July 4th, Independence Day. We're hanging out the flag. There's a lot of folks who feel the need to tell us what's wrong with America. But the question we should ask ourselves is, where would we rather be? Would I be happier if I took my family and moved to Taiwan or Brazil or France? I look at the Irish Americans celebrating St. Patrick's Day. But how many O'Malleys and Kellys would repatriate if they could? Wait a minute, they can, but they don't. And descendants of slaves or railroad coolies or internment camp prisoners may honor the old traditions, but they don't dream of returning to Africa or China or Japan. And what about Mexican Americans celebrating Cinco de Mayo? Do you think for 1 minute they'd switch places with relatives left behind in Mazatlan or Michoacan? The answer is no, they wouldn't. And neither I nor the vast majority of Americans with faraway roots would give up our precious United States citizenship. And America continues to be a global melting pot. They come from all over the world because of the opportunity. Just ask any Dutch dairyman or New Delhi medical doctor or Peruvian sheep herder among us. And regardless of our country's troubles, they continue to pour across the border because of what we have to offer. Hope. America stands for freedom. We fight on its side around the world to protect it with our military might, our generosity, and our lives. Freedom is not easy, and it's not free. Freedom is a word that never sounds trite to immigrants. They know, as our soldiers know, what it cost and its true meaning. And to those of us who have always known freedom, immigrants remind us not to take it for granted. Independence Day. Am I proud to be an American? You better believe it. After all, where else could a cowboy poet make a living telling frivolous stories? That's right, friends, only in America. God bless us all. This is Baxter Black from right here.
We're wrapping up the show with legacy photos as we share some great shots submitted by our viewers. Let's have a look. Want to see your photo on Cattlemen to Cattlemen? You can submit your favorite shots a couple of ways. Either message them to us on the Cattlemen to Cattlemen Facebook page or email them to c2c@beef.org. Include your ranch or farm name and your hometown, and we may use them on a future episode. Well, that wraps up this edition of NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen. Thanks so much for spending time with us. We'll see you again next week right here on RFD TV.